everybody. Welcome to Wellness Wednesday. I'm getting a notification here I want to get rid of. And, okay, sorry I was messing around and we're about a minute in. So let's just go ahead and get started. Come on into child's pose. Bring your forehead to the mat and let your head rest. Let your brain rest. Put your head down on the mat and let that be the first thing you focus on. Feel your forehead in contact with the mat. Maybe even rock your head left to right, kind of massaging that point in between your eyebrows, sort of in the middle of your forehead, sometimes called your third eye, the seat of your intuition. I don't know if that's true, but it always feels kind of good to massage that part anyway. And then pay attention to your breath. Of course, you've been breathing all day, but really make the breath deliberate. Make the breath, at least for one or two inhales and exhales, the focus of what you're doing. So really just narrowing down to feeling the breath coming in your nostrils, maybe noticing a little coolness as the cooler air enters your body. And then harder to notice the breath as you exhale because it's been warmed up to your body temperature. Pulling the breath in as deeply as you can, maybe to the bottom of your lungs, maybe feeling the expansion of your rib cage across your back. Maybe feeling your belly, just noticing how the breath moves through your body, noticing how the breath perhaps helps you center and ground. Right? You're on the ground, but our minds sometimes are just off and running. Right? And so the breath, but your mind, you might be thinking about that stupid thing you said yesterday, or, oh, it was so snowy yesterday and now it's all sunny. You might be thinking about what you're going to have for lunch. But your breath is always in the present, right? And your breath might get caught up thinking about that stupid thing you said yesterday, but that's because you made yourself upset in the present and the breath is reacting to that. So the breath is this beautiful tool for both assessing our mental state, grounding, like noticing, oh, my breath is kind of catching, I'm sad. And then we have this tool to say, well, I know because I practiced on my mat, during my meditation maybe, I practiced evening out my breath and using that to get me out of that rumination or the planning for the future, rehashing or rehearsing, right? And grounding me right here. So practicing that now. And knowing that at any time you have this, it's your breath. You have this beautiful, utterly simple but completely profound tool to just ground and stop and pause. And at any moment through this practice, I'll remind you a few times, but knowing that you can return to the breath, knowing that you can always come back to child's pose. One of my teachers, Brian Kest, says, is anybody brave enough to stay in child's pose throughout the whole practice? So if when I say, are you ready to move, in your mind you say no, then stay in child's pose, right? And even less bravery is required now because you're probably home alone. So that's enough of me talking. Push up onto your hands and knees and move through some cat-cows. Hands under your shoulders, knees under your hips, or whatever it feels like is going to suit you. And again, like whatever feels like it's going to suit you. You can do the straight up and down, curving and rounding of cat-cows. You can move side to side. You can undulate, kind of, I don't know if I can do that, but maybe you can kind of move your lower back first and then your shoulders and then your shoulders, lower back, and noticing or becoming aware of where the movement in cat-cow is originating for you. So a lot of times the movement, people kind of just lift their head and their tailbone. We want to try, right, to get really into your mid back, your upper back as much as you can. Upper back is easier. You can push into your hands, really round through your shoulder blades. Tuck your chin. Mid back's a little bit harder. If you have a block, we'll use a block later to try to get into the mid back a bit. And then come on back to neutral if you feel ready. And if you feel ready, lift your right arm up, thumb facing up, and extend your left leg behind you. Engage your core, reach. So you're trying to create a straight line, right? I mean, your body, of course, has curves, but you want to not be sagging. You want to be pushing into your left hand, sinking into your left shoulder, reaching, lifting through your stomach, navel coming to spine. Your buttocks are working to lift that left leg, hamstrings maybe, and your shoulder, your triceps. You can really be active in this pose. And then we'll come back to that, but for right now, just put it down and switch. Spinal traction. Left arm, right leg. And notice, I should have said this on the other side, but try to point your foot straight back. So either you're pointing it, like pointing your toes, or flexing your foot and your heels going straight back. So not, what I mean is not internally or externally rotating. Well, I guess what I mean is not externally rotating. That is more of kind of an internal rotation. You can think about taking your inner thigh of your right leg and trying to turn it up to the sky. And if that doesn't make any sense to you, then just let that go. And now put your left hand down, right knee down, and again, right arm, left leg. And this time, reach back, bend your leg, bend your knee, and reach back and grab your left foot with your right hand. And kick. We're just getting started moving, so you're not going to be as open as you might be if we did this at the end of the practice. But still, get what you can. Kick into your hand, let the kick open up your shoulder, and then put your right hand and left knee down and switch. Lift up your right leg, lift up your left arm, bend your right knee, and reach back with your left hand. And if you reached back and grabbed on your big toe side with your thumb down, you'll still get a nice shoulder opening. But if you can, walk your finger over the top of your toe so that your thumb is pointing up on the pinky side. And you might notice a greater opening there in your shoulder. Just a little shift in that position. But neither one is right, neither one is wrong. It's just a different way of moving. And then release. Put your hand and your knee down and take your legs back. High plank position, upper push-up position. Have your hands around your shoulders, fingers pointing toward the front. Really, you're having your middle finger, I suppose, pointing toward the top of your mat. And if that's not comfortable, then no dogma here. We're in plank pose, but we want you to stay safe, so you can always drop your knees. If it doesn't feel good to have your middle finger pointing toward the top of your mat, then angle your hands out a little bit. Maybe you have your pointer finger pointing toward the top of the mat. Who cares really, right? Pay attention to what you're stressing out about. And then push into your hands, send your hips back, come on into down dog, and try not to move your hands or your feet. So you're in a somewhat wide down dog. One pretty well-known yoga teacher, Baron Baptiste, says, do that. Shift forward here, you guys. Shift forward. Hands underneath your shoulders, heels pushing back, lift back up, down dog. I like this width. This width works pretty well for me. Baron talks about moving your feet back even further and walking your hands forward even further. So if you tried that, notice there's a lot more or a lot less stability, which requires your core to fire up a little bit more. So just noticing, I'm just providing you with different options for the practice, different choices that you can make to modify, to shift, to personalize this yoga practice, right? So a class has to be general, has to speak to as many people as possible. But you are yourself. You get to modify. You get to customize. Drop your right knee and bring your right hand back underneath your shoulder. Turn your left foot flat and lift your left arm up to the sky. Left arm up to the sky. And open, maybe make circles, bringing your left arm forward, bicep by your ear, and then bringing that arm back, around, and down. Just gently opening, perhaps switch directions. No hurry. Just getting to know how your body is feeling today, and then come on back up to that modified side plank, and bring your left hand down. Turn up on your left toes, step back, right foot to meet your left high plank, lower halfway or all the way, chaturanga, or the floor, upward facing dog, or cobra, pulling, actually pulling, trying to, without moving, drag your upper body forward a little bit, and then lift up, downward facing dog. And then drop your left knee down, and turn your right foot flat. And same thing other side, bring your left hand under your shoulder, modified side plank, lift your right arm up, and then bring your right bicep by your ear, and pull from the edge of your right foot, to your right fingertips, and make circles one way, and then the other way. Noticing how today, in this time, in this space, your body is responding to these movements. Right arm back up, right arm down, come up on right toes, step your left foot back to meet your right, chaturanga, upward facing dog, to downward facing dog. And from downward facing dog, take a bunch of baby steps. Walk to the top of your mat and hang in ragdoll. Bending your knees as much as you need to take care of the back side of your body. Noticing again, how's your body here? Right? Did you do something different over this past week that might be impacting your body, whether that's resting more or using your body differently? And I'm just noticing and being kind to yourself. Clasp your hands behind your back and straighten-ish your elbows. Bring your hands off your back. Bend your right knee, straighten your left knee, and pull your hands to the right. Or straighten-ish your left knee. Pull your hands to the right, stretching through the side of your body. And then come on back center and switch sides. Breathing, feeling what you feel, not trying to make your body, release your hands halfway, not roll up, just roll up to stand. Not trying to force your body to be the way it was any other time except the way it is right now. Accepting the way it is right now. When you get to standing, lift your arms up overhead, bring your palms together, and then with your palms together, slowly and with intention, pull your hands in to your heart. Rest your thumbs against your sternum and feel your heart beating in and out, in and out. I read a meme that said, "You're the only person you're guaranteed to be with for the rest of your life, so can you choose to be on your own side?" And what would that mean to you, to be on your own side? Would it mean stop saying all those mean things you say to yourself? Would it be stop trying to turn this practice into the practice you had last time? Because it's not last time, it's now. What would that mean? And how can you begin to turn that into practice? Arms up, inhale, And then make your way down, hands through heart center or dive forward. Halfway lift, lengthen, a nice slow, juicy sun A. When you lengthen here, halfway lift, pause. Keep your head in line with your, so you may, I mean, this is where it's nice to have a mirror in a practice. If you have any reflective surface, look, a lot of times we're lifting up our head unconsciously or ducking it down unconsciously. So just keep recognizing, yeah, your neck is actually part of your spine. And then maybe bring your hands up. Your core's engaged here. You're getting some work here. Bring your hands up to your thighs and roll your shoulders up and back and down. Really bring your shoulder blades onto your back. And then push into your thighs a little bit, and or maybe even just in your mind, pushing in, and lengthen from your tailbone through the crown of your head. Inhale. And then exhale, take that length down, let your hands come to the floor. And again, lengthen up halfway. You don't have to bring your hands to your thighs. Notice your shoulder blades, notice your neck. And then forward fold, put your hands down, step back, high plank. And lower, chaturanga, lower slowly. Really using your muscles, all your muscles, real engagement here. And then come up, upward facing dog. Or cobra, pulling your shoulders back and your heart through, and then lift your hips, roll over your toes. Home base, downward facing dog. Breathe in, breathe out. Ah, maybe even a nice sigh. Ah, look in between your hands and make your way to the top of your space. Maybe one big step. Maybe a bunch of steps, a jump, lift up halfway, inhale. Take it down, forward fold, sweep your arms up, rise, bring your hands up, overhead, bring your palms together and pull the energy into your heart. Inhale your arms up. Same thing, a little faster, halfway lift, forward fold. And then halfway lift, rushing it. I didn't mean that much faster. Hands down, high plank. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog to downward facing dog. Look in between your hands and step to the top of your space. Lift up halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Rise up. Bring your hands together overhead. Put your hands together and pull your energy into your heart. We're going to do two more sun A's. I'm going to talk you through one, and then I'm going to give you space to do the other on your own. Inhale your arms up. Forward fold. Lengthen, halfway up. Take it back, high plank. Lower to chaturanga or the floor. Upward facing or cobra to downward facing dog. Look in between your hands and make your way to the top of your space. Halfway lift. Fold. Sweep up with a flat back. Bring your palms together overhead. Pull that energy into your heart. And then one more sun A on your own. And if you don't remember, make it up. Just move and breathe. Lean in, downward facing dog. When probably everybody's in down dog now, put a little pressure in your left heel so that it continues to stay down. And then lift your right leg up and bend your knee, open up your hip. So huge external rotation here, and you can literally rotate. Move your knee around, move your ankle around. Checking out your joints. How are you guys doing today? And maybe really listen for the answer. And then bring your right leg down and switch sides. Lift your left leg up and through your right heel, bend your knee and open up your hip. Think about that, right? If somebody said to you, somebody you thought cared about you, and they said, making those circles, guys, if they said, how are you? And you inhale and you go, well, I'm like, yeah, that's great, that's great, that's great. I'm just going to expect you to be like yesterday. Left foot down. Look in between your hands. walk your feet in a little bit closer towards your hands. So the opposite of that Baron Baptiste down dog. And let's practice doing a couple of, they're called sometimes frog kicks. So we're going to jump up, and the reason they're called frog kicks is your legs stay bent kind of like a frog. So jumping up and lifting your legs, trying to get your hips over your shoulders. So you can even play around with rocking forward, bringing your shoulders over your wrists, and then trying to get your hips up. This is all trying, right? So you do your best. Do a couple of frog jumps there. And then come on back to down dog, look in between your hands, and step up, hop, jump to the top of your space. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Bend your knees, lift your arms up. Chair pose, Utkatasana. And feel, if you did those jumps, your heart beating. Feel your body's engagement here. Feel your arms lifting as your butt sinks down. Right? And so if somebody said, how are you doing today? And you start to say, well, you know, I didn't sleep that well last night. I'm kind of tired. But they don't listen. They're like, well, you were fine the other day, so I'm just going to expect that you were fine, that you're also fine today. That wouldn't feel very good. Don't do that to your own body. Forward fold. When you ask your body, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, step back, high plank. Lower chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward. Spin your back foot flat. Pause here. Make sure that your right heel is underneath your right knee. So move your foot around if you need to. And then look back. See where your left foot is. So your left foot is spinning flat onto the ground, or that was the way, I don't know what your foot's actually doing, but, and notice, are your heels lined up? Is your left arch behind your right foot? Both of those are very, like, traditional ways of doing Warrior One. Rise up, Warrior One. But if you're in either of those shapes, you're going to notice it's harder to get your left hip pointing forward. So what a lot of people, including me, will do is move your left foot out more. So you're more on a railroad track and a tightrope. But it doesn't matter. We just try. We do our best here. Right? But so if you did that to if your friend did that to you, oh yeah, that's nice. You wouldn't feel heard. Don't do that to your body. Be where you are. Hear what your body has to say. Why even ask? Open up, Warrior Two. We practice yoga to practice these things, right? We practice being kind to ourselves. We practice being present in the moment. How's your front thigh here? How's your back heel? Can you feel the pinky edge of your left foot on your mat? That's not an invitation to criticism, it's a question. Flip your right palm. Reach forward with your right palm facing up and then scoop up and back, keeping your left knee bent. Reverse warrior. Reach your left hand back behind you. Maybe slither right hand. Slither your left hand behind your back perhaps. Some people can even hook the top of your right thigh here with your left fingertips. Reach, reach, reach. Breathing. And then windmill down. Both hands on the ground. Step back, high plank. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Feel the difference in both legs. Downward facing dog. And step your left foot forward. Spin your right foot flat. And again, take a moment. Get your heel underneath your knee. Look back and decide. Maybe if you played around with, let me try lining up heel to heel or even heel to arch. Give that a try. Start there. Put weight in your back foot and rise. Warrior One. And then notice your hip position. It just is harder for most Americans, most Westerners probably, to get your right hip point in this case, forward with your feet in a line. So maybe doing a railroad. Who cares, right? Open up, warrior two. Reach. Left arm forward, right arm back. Warrior two. Sinking into your left knee. Allowing your groin to drop as you lift from your waist. Sink into your knee. Lift from your waist. Lift from the crown of your head. Flip your left palm. Reach forward and scoop. Bring your right hand behind your back. Keep your left knee bent. Reaching backwards with your left hand. Looking up at your left hand if that feels okay. Looking down or neutral. Keeping your neck happy. And then bring it down. High plank. Lower. Upward facing dog. Two. Downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward. Spin your back foot flat. Rise up, warrior one. Foot position of your choice here, warrior two. This time reach forward and take extended side angle. So your right arm is down and your left arm is up. Bring your left bicep by your ear, palm facing the floor, kind of like what we did at the beginning here, and really reaching. Trying to get space in your body, get undoing all of that sitting that we always do. Come on back up, warrior two, and then just windmill down. Back high plank. Keep your right foot up if you want as you lower chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog, and from down dog, left foot forward, flat, rise, warrior one. Open, warrior two, reach forward, extended side angle. Right arm up, and then right bicep by your ear. Reaching, edge of right foot, through right fingertips, elongating, creating space, finding hidden inches. Back up, warrior two, and take it down, high plank, chaturanga, up, dog, downward facing dog. Drop your knees to the mat and walk up a little bit. Let's take Virasana. Spread your feet wider than your hips and sit down. If you have a block and you're having trouble getting your butt on the floor here, then sit on your block. And if you can, you know where we're going here, take it back as far as you want. But again, well, should I say as far as you want or as far as you can? Because I'm not sure which one is going to be interpreted the way I mean. But what I do mean is listen to your body, not your ego, okay? So if your knees or your thighs or any part of you is saying, hey, back off, don't go that far. Or why stop here? We could take it further. Then listen to your body. Just because that's never what you've done before, it's not what you usually do, whatever that means. Right? So practicing being present. Practicing listening non-judgmentally. My goodness, what a skill that would be in life in general, huh? To listen, to really listen, not assume we know the answer already, or not listen to prove that that guy's an idiot. Just listen. Come on up. And come on to first your hands and knees. Move back to more or less the center of your mat or wherever you need to be to get into downward facing dog. And then tuck your toes. Lift your hips. Back to downward facing dog. And look in between. Actually, from here, let's just lift your right leg up again. And this time step it through low lunge. Shift forward. Shift forward with your leg up and curl. Bring your knee in and really round your spine. Really round your spine. Hold it here, and then, if you can, just gently
put your right foot down and try to get your heel underneath your knee again. And if you weren't able to do that, shove your leg up there. Who cares? Come on up this time to crescent. Sinking into your right knee, pushing back through your left heel as you bring your left hip point forward, reaching your arms up, checking in with your rib cage, trying not to poke that low rib down, and then bring your hands together at your heart, and let's twist. Bring your left elbow outside of your right knee. Try not to let the knee collapse in. You can always drop your back knee to the ground, trying to use the leverage of pushing your right knee out into your elbow to allow your torso to rotate even side wall. Breathe, breathe, breathe. You can open up your arms if you want. Bring your left hand down and your right arm up. You can bind if that's in your body's practice, bringing your right arm behind your back. Some people can even bring their left hand under their body and clasp. I cannot. Take your time there if you're doing that. Unwind, runner's lunge. Drop your left knee down. Walk. Actually, before we come into runner's lunge, unless you're there already, shift back, Ardha Hanumanasana, half splits. Straighten your right knee. Flex your right foot and walk your hands toward your right foot, sending your hips back. And I get so bossy sounding, do this, do that, but these are all suggestions, only if it feels good in your body. And if you choose, because it's right for you to sit out something, then good for you. Good for you, because you're not hearing me, you're hearing your body. Rebend your front knee, and this time come into runner's lunge. So bring your hands the inside of your front knee, toe heel, right foot up, sink your hips forward and come on down to your degree. And do a scan here. Where are you holding on to tension? So that doesn't mean where do you feel engagement. And that doesn't mean, for example, if you're like me, there's some tightness in the outside of my right hip and my right inner thigh. Tightness doesn't mean holding on to stress. Maybe are you clenching your jaws, or is your neck in a strange position, or are you not breathing? And just notice all that and come on back to this moment. Taking deeper breaths. Maybe even letting your head rest on your hands or on a block. Being engaged where we need to be engaged, but not creating extra tension. And come on up. We're going to come back to a full side plank this time. So see if you could do it from here. In runner's lunge, come up. Your palms are flat on the ground. Tuck your left toes and lift your left knee, and see if you can, in one movement, bring your right leg up and back and pivot so that you're on the outside of your left foot with your right foot stacked on top. Lift your right arm up and take any other variation of this shape that suits you. So you can drop your left knee, lift your right leg, grab your toes, knee, whatever you like. You could bring your right arm over your ear again and really, right bicep over your ear, and really be in a rainbow shape. And then wherever you are, come to high plank, chaturanga, up, dog, downward facing dog. Lift your left leg up. Shift forward with your left leg up. Bring your left knee towards your chest, towards your forehead. Round, and then look down and place your left foot down. Rise, crescent. Bend in your left knee. Pushing through your right heel. Bringing right hip point forward. Lower rib cage in. Hands to your heart. And twist. Right elbow outside left knee.
back knee up or down, pushing your left knee out as you push in with your right elbow. So you're not looking for your knee to jut out. It's just the action of thighs engaged. Inner thighs can even be scissoring toward each other a little bit as your knee goes out, if that makes any sense. Maybe opening up your arms. Spread your wings. And then turn your torso down. Bring your right knee down and shift back. Untuck your right toes. Flex your left foot. Half splits. Always creating length, right? So walking your hands toward your foot. Some people can get so far beyond their foot they put a block and then they grab on the outside of the block. It's not about how far you go. Those people just need to take it further to get the same stretch that some people may be getting by hardly moving. So take time to become aware of the judgments your mind is making. First we become aware, then we say, how does this serve me? And then we decide what we want to do about it. Runner's lunge, bend your front knee, hands inside your left foot, scoot your left foot up a little bit and shift forward, sink down. So maybe again you want to go right into resting your head on your hands or a block. Noticing the differences in this side. Noticing whether there's different places of tension. Become aware of your right knee on the ground. Become aware of your palms, your forearms, whatever you've got on the ground in your hands. Becoming aware of the top of your right foot and your right toenails on the floor, left foot, maybe left shoulder or arm in contact with your left leg. Grounding back into this moment, into this place in time. And who cares? Is this time so important? Well, yes, because this is the only this moment that you're going to have in your life. And in fact, that moment's already gone. We're in this moment now. Right? So life goes so quickly. It's already the end of January. How do we slow it down? I have no idea. But what I do know is we can pay attention. We live by being present. All right, get ready to come back to the full side plank here. So come on up onto your hands. Tuck your right toes, lift your right knee, and get ready to bring your left foot up and around as you spin your right foot. Stack your toes, lift your left arm up. Maybe again you bring your left bicep by your ear, or you lift your left leg up and grab your heel, maybe your heel, your knee, your toes, and then back, high plank, and make your way to downward facing dog, either going through the vinyasa or just lifting your hips up to the sky. And then look in between your hands, and maybe you practice the jump, or maybe you just step, top of your space, halfway lift, lengthen up. Take the length down, fold, bend your knees, chair, rise up. Garudasana, eagle. Right arm under, right leg up and over. Breathe. Sink lower. Lift your elbows higher. Maybe. Right foot can be on the ground. Maybe right toes are behind your left calf. Relax your jaw. Relax your forehead. See if you can wiggle your left toes. See if you can release that death grip. And then release altogether. Lift up, come to standing. And grab your left wrist with your right hand. Side bend. Little detour here. Just for a breath. Come on back up. Chair. Garudasana. Left arm under. Left leg up and over. Lifting your elbows, bending your knees. Core engaged. breath steady. So even if this is hard, even if you're falling all over the place, the breath sending a message to your mind through its steadiness that you're okay. Release. You can do hard things. Grab your right wrist with your left hand, pull up and over. I can do hard things, and I can do them without freaking out. Come on back up. Hands down by your sides. Clasp your hands behind your back. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Open up your heart. Bend your knees. Your feet can be together or hip width. Bend your knees.
And bow forward and let your hands come off your back. Similar to where we started. But just straight, not side to side. And if you want to do side to side, you can. And then release your hands. If your feet are not hip width distance, do that. Hip width distance your feet. Hands underneath your feet, gorilla. Or grab your big toes. Halfway lift. Take that length down. So maybe working on pulling your elbows out. Definitely let your head be heavy. Take the wrinkles out of the back of your neck. Maybe you rock a little bit back and forth. And then release your left hand if it's underneath your foot. And bring your left hand to your hip. Release your right hand and grab onto your big toe with your first two fingers. And without thinking too hard about what you're doing, stand up and bring your right foot with you.
So come to a tall spine. And you may need to have your knee very bent like I do. You may be able to have your leg straight out while you're grabbing your big toe. If you have a strap, you could be using your strap. If grabbing onto your big toe is too hard, then just grab onto your knee. But what I want you to focus on is standing up straight. And then bring your right knee, right foot out to the right. Left arm out to the left, and possibly look over at your left thumb. Give it a try. The worst thing that happens is you're going to lose your balance and fall. Come on back center. Bring both arms up. Extend your leg if it wasn't extended before. Whoa. And then come on into warrior 3 or airplane. So bring your right leg back behind you. You can keep your arms out in front of you. That's warrior 3. Trying to get everything parallel, or you come into airplane. Airplane, your arms are behind you and you want your torso higher than everything. Neither one is more right than the other. They're just different. And then bring your hands down to the mat. Standing splits. Your right leg is up. Your left foot is on the ground. And then bring your right foot down to meet your left. Right hand on your right hip. Grab onto your left toes and stand up, bringing your left foot with you. Again, coming to a tall spine. Tall spine is more important than straight leg. Noticing the difference on this side. For me, it's a lot easier to straighten my leg on this side. Bring your left leg out to the left. You may need to grab your knee. If you didn't already, right arm out to the right. Look at your right hand. Going back to center. Both arms up. Left leg out in front of you. Try not to lean back. All right, so there's more core engagement when we stand up straight. And then warrior 3 or airplane. Bring your left leg behind you. Try to reconnect with that traction of pulling with your foot, reaching with your fingertips, and then hands down, left leg stays up just for another breath. And left foot down to meet your right. Halfway lift. Fold, fold, sweep all the way up. Bring your hands together overhead. And bring your hands into your heart. Lift your arms up and fold. Lengthen.
high plank to low, up dog, downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward, spin your back foot flat, warrior one. Moving into triangle, warrior two. Straighten your right knee and just keep reaching and tilt. Trying to keep the left body, left hips moving back as the crown of your head moves forward. So still trying to get length in this shape. Maybe using the leverage from your bottom hand to roll your right rib cage open. And if you want, reach your left elbow, left arm one more time, bicep by your ear. And if you want, lift your right arm up too. A lot of engagement through your whole body. And then rise up. Turn your feet parallel. Bring your hands parallel to the floor. Squeeze your shoulder blades together and then bow. Prasarita Padottanasana, aka wide-legged forward fold. Maybe grab onto your big toes with your first two fingers if that feels good, or you could reach back and grab your heels if that's accessible. Whatever hand position you like here. Think about what's going to be a hand position that's going to keep you engaged, but engaged in a way that the breath can continue to flow. Come on up, back to Prasarita here. Warrior two, back to the front of your mat. Reverse warrior. And take it down. Chaturanga. Two upward facing dog. Two downward facing dog. And then you step your left foot forward, right foot flat, and let's make our way into triangle on this side. So warrior one turns into warrior two. And then you straighten your left knee while you reach forward, and then you tilt. Once again, checking in with your body. How do you want to show up today, body? Or maybe not how do you want to, but how are you showing up? And how can I best meet you where you are? Not where I want you to be, but where you actually are. Come on back up. And this time, turn your heels in and sink into horse. I'm going to flip around here so you're not looking at my back. Sink into horse, knees bend. You can have your elbows bent by your sides, palms facing up. And maybe you take this all the way down. We're going to throw in a little arm balance here. So you're going to need to bring your feet in more. Come first into yogic squat. Sending your hips as low as you can. Opening through your inner thighs, opening through your groin. Lift up through your upper body. So maybe bring your hands to the insides of your knees and your chest up. And if you want to stay here, stay here. If you want to come into crow, come on into crow. Bring your hands under your shoulders, knees, come to the outsides of your triceps. Lift your head, just make your way to crow if you know where to go, or stay in yogic squat. And when you get to wherever you are, take some breaths. Commit. Stillness, even within the activity of the shape you're in. And then wherever you are, come on back up. Going to be a tiny bit awkward, but come back to horse. Straighten your legs. Stretch your arms out, warrior two, to the front of your mat. Your left leg is forward. Flip your left palm. Reverse. And come down. High plank. Chaturanga. All the way down to the floor. All the way down to the floor. And untuck your toes and just lift your upper body. Come into cobra without any drama. Lift up into cobra. And then come on down. Turn your head to the right. Turn your ear to the mat, left ear on the mat. Arms alongside your body, palms facing up. Bring your head back to neutral. Bend your knees and let's do a bow pose. Bend your knees, grab your feet, and kick. So we did a version of this at the very beginning. One side and then the other. Hanging onto your feet, using the kick to help open your heart. Trying to get to that middle and upper back. And then release. Head to the other side. Hands alongside your body, palms facing up. And then come back center. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders and push up onto your hands and knees. And then just walk. Actually, let's do pigeon. Bring your right knee forward. Just scoot your right knee forward. Left knee back. And come on down. Resting your head. Noticing what's going on with you, right? So we start the yoga flow. We've got about 7 minutes left before 1 o'clock. We start in child's pose. And we get active, like a young person. And then we slow down as we do with age, and then we end in corpse pose, Shavasana. Each practice, its own little cycle. Bring your torso up, shift over onto your right hip, and bring your left leg around. Janu Shirshasana, bring the sole of your right foot to the inside of your left thigh. Lift your arms up, turn over your left leg, and bow. Try to get your torso flat over or squared to the ground. It's just a different version. If that's not what you usually do, just play around with it right now. And if you don't like it, you don't have to stay in it all that long. And then come on up. Pigeon, other side. Bring your bend your left knee. Swing your right leg around. Shift your body, however you need to get into pigeon on this side. When you land. And can you find a kind of neutral yet curious approach to the practice? Neutral, doesn't matter how your body shows up, but curious, you're interested. And maybe you make some connections like, oh, isn't that interesting? That snow shoveling that I did yesterday seems to be creating tightness in my shoulders, or that walk I did trudging through the slippery snow seems to be creating different feelings in my hips, or whatever, right? You notice with curiosity, not judgment. We use our bodies. Our bodies are very loyal to us if we treat them well. Well, they're loyal to us anyway. They stick with us our whole life, huh? Come on up. Shift onto your left hip. Swing your right leg around. Sole of your left foot on your inner right thigh. Lift your arms up. Turn your torso towards your right foot, and come on down. Trying, at least for the beginning moments here, to square your chest toward the ground, over your right thigh, reaching the crown of your head toward your right toes. Trying not to overextend in your upper body, right? So pulling your shoulders out of their sockets and grabbing your toe doesn't really take you deeper into the shape. And then come on up. Straighten both legs out in front of you. If you have a block or a rolled up towel, which is sometimes even better in this shape, we're going to go to grab it and bring it next to you. First, we're going to roll down and do a bridge pose, so go right into bridge. If you prefer wheel, go on into wheel. 5 breaths. Pushing into your feet. Energy through your inner thighs. Hips lifting, breath steady. Mind calm and steady. And then release. And I promised a upper back, mid to upper back heart opener. Here, this is a supported shape. So take your block or towel, and what you want to do is try to put it in between your shoulder, or along your spine, kind of in between your shoulders. And if you're tall enough that you can do that and your head rests on the ground, you lay back on your block and your head rests on the ground. If you can do that, then do that. But if you're shorter like me, I prefer to have just the very base of my head, almost where my hairline starts, on the edge of the block. And relax back. We have a few more minutes. So we'll be here. Usually when I'm teaching a live class, well, I guess this is live, but I'm not with you guys, I can tell when people get in the right position with the block because they go, oh. So this should feel good. If it doesn't feel good, you can choose to take a different shape. Also, we're going to come from here into Shavasana. So you can choose to just stay here for the rest of the minutes we have left together. You can also choose to remove the block and come into a spinal twist, or just lay down on the ground. But I would invite you to not get busy. Oh, let me do this, let me do that. But try to find stillness. And if you're thinking, oh, well, I can't end a class without doing a spinal twist, why not? You can. You actually can end a class without doing a spinal twist. Now, if you want to do one, that's different. If it feels good, that's different. If, like in Ashtanga, there's something called the closing sequence, so that every class you go through the same shapes. And maybe that gives you a sense of closure and a sense of completion. And if any or all of that is true for you, then absolutely, yes, do it, honor it. But come to stillness. Relax your jaw. Come back to noticing in a very different position how the body is subtly changed by the breath. Noticing how your energy has shifted from the beginning of this time practicing yoga to the end of this time practicing yoga, and acknowledging and honoring that, and knowing that we have this power to return to the breath, which is always in the present, at absolutely any moment. And hopefully you feel good and relaxed right now. And if that is the case, then making a connection between the breath and that sense of being relaxed and present. Knowing that you can come back to this anytime, that I've
guided you through the practice, but you're the one that created the space where you are now, which is hopefully a good and calm and nourishing place to be. I'm going to leave you guys here. Please take a moment to come to a space of gratitude before you close your practice. As always, I am grateful to you guys. I look forward to being together in person someday again. And in the meantime, I hope to see you, well, I hope you see me, I guess, virtually from your mat next Wednesday. I bow to you. Namaste.